Hello everyone, thank you guys for tuning in to another video. In today's video, I want to talk about a game that is pretty important to me and probably to a lot of legacy PlayStation players who have been with the PlayStation since its infancy, or maybe since the PS2, PS3, even PS4, even PS5, or PSP or PS Vita or PS TV or yada yada yada. Anyway, the game that we're going to be talking about today is Astro Bot. If you don't know, Astro Bot has actually been around for a little bit. It was a pack-in title with the PS4. There was Astro Bot's Rescue Mission, which was a VR title. Then we got Astro Bot's Playroom, which was a free game with every PS5 purchase that I recommend every single person play because it really shows off what the DualSense 5 is capable of. And it's just a really fun game, and it's filled with nostalgia for longtime PlayStation fans and newcomers. But Astro Bot is the first real standalone retail, excluding Rescue Mission because I did get a retail release, but a real true standalone, actual more, I would say close to a AAA release, right? It wasn't priced at $69.99, it was a $59.99 title, but it was, I would say, Astro Bot's first debut, right? As like a bigger title for more of a larger audience to consume. Although you could argue with the other titles being free to play and they're on every PlayStation 5, they're more accessible. But anyway, this is a more fleshed out, more experienced title, more budget, thrown into the title. So yeah, Astro Bot's first major debut, I would say. In this game is super important. One, because we know PlayStation's current trajectory with development, and it's really just focused on big AAA titles, right? You've got The Last of Us, you've got God of War, you got Horizon Zero Dawn, you got Ghost of Tsushima. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy all those, and I think they're great, and I really love them. But if we go back to PlayStation's roots, we don't really have a lot of that experimentation anymore, that wackiness, or just those fun, unique titles that we would get, right? And there's reasons behind that. As many of you may know or may not know, development for video games has rapidly increased, right? So you don't really have the luxury to have those losses anymore. Everything's got to turn a profit just because of how much resources and development is being put into those titles. We can take a look at leaked numbers that are accurate, like actual just budgets. Now these are just budgets. This doesn't even include marketing or advertisement. Budgets for some of these games are over $200 to $300 million per game. You're looking at selling full price $5 to $7 million depending on cost of development and advertisement just to break even. That's kind of the climate that we're in with a lot of big AAA games, and PlayStation doesn't really have the luxury to take a lot of losses. Although, yes, they did just take a loss with Concord. That was a pretty big one. But they bought that studio while the game was already in development. So PlayStation didn't put as much resources into it as some might think. I would probably estimate close to about $200 million. Either way, they can write it off, and they already had their quarter report out, and they actually had the most profitable quarter report they've ever had in a while. So yeah. But anyway, so development is pretty tricky, right? We really can't take those losses. PlayStation has to kind of stay in a fine line of making sure they've got good profit margins and good return on investments with their titles, especially just with diminishing returns kind of being the name of the game now. So back in the day, PS1, PS2, a little bit of PS3, you could have a lot of those fun, quirky titles, and they didn't necessarily have to perform well or even turn a profit, really. And you could have that, right? And that was completely fine. I think now Sony's not focusing on that. They've obviously disbanded Japan Studios, which was really a part of making some of those more, I wouldn't say niche, but more unique experiences that we had. Gravity Rush comes to mind, which is a really fun one. They were behind a ton of cult classics, for the PlayStation legacy. So once we got Astro Bot's Playroom, that was really fun because it really kind of, gave us that feeling again, that PlayStation is, and funny enough, believe it or not, PlayStation's really never had a first party platformer, or first party really a lot of PlayStation's legacy is built off of third parties, and they have those close working relationships because they've built each other, right? Resident Evil, Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, even though Dragon Quest had its start on Nintendo's home consoles. Devil May Cry, you name it. There's a ton of IP that really got their start on PlayStation, and were exclusive to PlayStation up until until PS3, really. But PlayStation really helped build their legacy and vice versa, right? PlayStation really didn't have a ton of like independently owned first party IP. They had Ape Escape, they had Jak and Dexter, they had Sly Cooper, they had Ratchet and Clank, which Insomniac is still developing Ratchet and Clank games. And in fact, PlayStation never owned Insomniac until I want to say 2018, 2019, maybe 2017, but they bought Insomniac. But anyway, so PlayStation has had a pretty big legacy with these characters and with these more experimental titles, right? We do not have that anymore. Ape Escape comes to mind when I think of PlayStation and its infancy and its quirkiness, or Parappa the Rappa. Just games that are just fun, just fun to play. And I think Astro Bot could be a big potential wake-up call for Sony, or at least to let them know that, hey, this is something that we want. We can have smaller, refined experiences that don't cost a gazillion dollars, and our fans will enjoy them. We know that Astro Bot has sold over 1.5 million units exclusively to PlayStation's platform, likely at full price, and it's going to keep selling more, right? That's a really good thing for a game of this size. I can say personally that it's definitely going to be likely a big seller during the holidays. It's sold out on Amazon. It's likely going to be sold out at most retailers, because word of mouth is really going to speak for this game, and it really does harken back to those early days of PlayStation. I mean, I've had so many people come up to me and ask me about Astro Bot, like, oh my gosh, it's so fun, I want to play it. And I've recommended it to them because it's an immaculate platformer, excluding the PlayStation nostalgia side. It's a really good, refined game. But I think it kind of paints the message for Sony to say, hey, it's completely okay to have these titles thrown in the mix. We can have a lower budget Ape Escape. We can have another Ratchet and Clank, which, they are continuing that. We can have another Sly Cooper. We can continue on. We can have Parappa the Rappa. Like, they don't necessarily have to go away. Gravity Rush doesn't need to go anywhere, right? Hopefully Sony can learn by this, that saying, hey, maybe we can have some more resources and development into these smaller titles, or our own IP that we've owned, and fans will like it, right? I think Astro Bot really kind of set the tone, and I really hope Sony really listens to that. Or, yeah, continue Astro Bot too, but obviously this sends the message that, hey, fans still want those experiences. There's nothing wrong with those, so let's get them, right? We don't have to have over-the-shoulder third-person action-adventure games left and right. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoy those titles, but I think we need some variances, right? We need something to change things up. We need something to kind of also, with these longer development cycles, something to kind of throw in the mix to keep us entertained, to keep us going. But I really hope that Astro Bot sets the tone and gives Sony the message that, hey, okay, people actually care, and people actually want to see more of our legacy IP, or our more niche IP, or just more different unique things, right? They did Concrete Genie, which was kind of fun, but they pulled the plug on that studio. But there's still room, right? And there's still people out there who will play these games and pick them up and enjoy them. So hopefully Sony really learns from how important Astro Bot is, and what it means to a lot of people, and what it could really mean for them if they decide to experiment some more, and or just give us some of the old IP that we've wanted for so long. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys listening to me ramble on into this microphone for just pure nonsense. Excuse me, I'm a little sick right now. I do plan on having at least 2 more videos out by the end of the year. So yeah, I'll see you guys then. Happy holidays.